Today I'm going to be showing you 3 hacks to make sewing easier on your crochet plushies. So make sure you subscribe and stay until the very end so you don't miss any of the sewing tips. So the first hack to make sewing easier is use some sort of sewing sticks. There's a lot of those cute Ami sticks on Etsy. What I do is I just use a really thin crochet hook because this is a size 6 yarn or size 5. It's Push Pearl from Michaels, so I use a 3.5mm crochet hook, and that keeps everything in place. So we'll go ahead and start with sewing on the ear to the head. This is a free bunny pattern. I'll have it linked below. So once you have it secured with the sewing sticks, it just helps a lot for whatever you're sewing on. It helps it to really stay in place and not move around, and that way when you sew it on, it doesn't end up being crooked or lopsided or anything. And this is also tip number 2 or hack number 2 for sewing on Amigurumi plushies is this yarn, the Push Pearl from Michaels by Loops and Threads. Did you notice it did not shed, it did not break, it didn't get caught or anything while we were sewing on it. So this is a chenille yarn that you can actually sew with. I know I've tried sewing with the Just Chenille from the dollar store. That does not work. I've also tried sewing with Premier Parfait. That makes a huge mess. But did you notice this yarn made zero mess? There's no shedding here at all. The third hack is, as you can see here, I didn't leave a long enough tail to sew, and this, you can also do this trick if you did not use Push Pearl yarn. If you use a yarn that sheds a lot and that's very difficult to sew with, then you can always sew with a different yarn. This is just Premier Just Yarn Worsted from the Dollar Tree. It's in the color cream. So as you can see, it's fairly similar, not an exact match, but we're still going to sew with it. But don't worry, you won't see any of this acrylic yarn at the end. So we have our little sewing stick, aka crochet hook, attached to keep that second ear in place. We don't want anything turning out lopsided. And then we have on our needle, we have that acrylic yarn, so I just stick it in the back somewhere. We'll tuck in the ends later. And just go ahead and start sewing it to the ear to the head. And I'm sure you can see now, you can hardly see that acrylic yarn. And if you feel like you can see it, you can use a little bit of this to cover it up. But because the chenille yarn is so thick and fluffy, you can really hardly see that thin acrylic yarn that you use to sew with. So that was hack number 3. If your yarn sheds, you can always use a different yarn. Or if you just hate sewing with acrylic or with chenille yarn, then you don't have to. So let's go ahead and finish sewing up the rest of this plushie.